New to medical device sales meetup in Tampa, Florida, September 7th. Come join us where you're going to be networking with other individuals looking to break into medical device sales, with reps that are already in medical device sales that have had success in medical device sales. And it's just a time for community. We have our current and past people from new to medical device sales. They get to meet each other in person. We go over different things we're seeing in the industry, and it's a time for you all to network and meet other like-minded individuals. And this is our time where we make it family-like you're gonna see from past events that we've done. So come, mark your calendars, come learn more about medical device sales, how to stand out, how to break into an amazing industry, and how to be a top performer in medical device sales. If you have any questions, click the link below to find out more information. And I can't wait to see you in Tampa, Florida on September 7th.
Hey everybody, just want to take a moment to say thank you for all of the support and to everybody who's just reached out and told us how much we've helped them. It truly means the world, and I want to be here without any of you. And just want you to know how much fun it's been seeing all of our members at New to Medical Device Sales. We just got a 23-year-old hired at $125,000. We actually just got one of our guys who will be on the podcast here soon, no experience, just got him hired at over $170K with Abbott. We also just got one of our guys an offer literally today, physical therapist, no sales experience before, came in with Medtronic, $175K is the offer, and he's actually in a second interview today to be able to go counter that and see if we can actually get a higher salary. So it's a lot of fun, and I just feel so thankful to each and every one of you who continue to allow us to be on this journey. And then also, if you guys are just watching this podcast, if you're brand new, welcome. It's always just a pleasure to be able to have all of the new listeners. If you guys don't know who I am, again, started as a personal trainer and was able to have all the success. But again, we'll let you guys watch the podcast. We have YouTube videos. Also, if you guys haven't checked out, we had a day in the life of a rep. We then transferred to day in the life of a manager. And now we have a day in the life of helping people break into medical device sales so you guys can see more behind the scenes. Would love for you to check that out because, again, we just want to continue to show you that we're still hustling. It's just in a different capacity now. And I want you guys to be able to see that we're truly committed to helping you all get your results. And you can see, even when we're traveling, even when we're driving, even when we're doing stuff, we're all about our team and our members. I also want to let you all know that we're doing a new to medical device sales meetup in Tampa, Florida on September 7th. We are going to drop location here soon, but I want to put that on your guys' calendar. This is going to be a time where you guys can meet with current members, former members that are actually placed in the industry, or if you're just interested in what we do or just connecting, networking, it's a time for you guys to all come in. We're going to be there. I'll have some of our team members there. We're going to have reps that are inside the industry. We're going to be able to tell you what we're seeing inside the industry, plus just have a time to connect, network. Also, I'm all about just making sure you get what you need. So that's where we do Q&As, answer questions for you all during that time. But it's most about community, a time for all of us to get together. It's like a big family gathering for me because we get to see former members, current members, people that are looking at joining us. We get the opportunity to talk to them, answer any questions. So if you guys are going to be in Tampa, September 7th, would love to have you there. And I am really excited about going over today's episode for you all because it's all about helping you guys get where you want to be. Because again, I get so many messages of, oh, I'm coming in at 50K, 60K, 50-hour work weeks, 90-hour work weeks, whatever it is. They're just uneducated. And that's what we're here to do, is continue to educate you guys to show you what is possible and that there are different cultures in companies. There are different leaders in companies, and it says a lot about the company, and it's going to say a lot about the success that you have. So I wanted to make today's episode so you guys can go crush it in the industry. And I can't wait for you guys to have success. If you're really interested in breaking into medical device sales, click the link below as we continue to help people break in at over 6 figures. And it's just a fun time helping you all reach your goals. Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin. And I am so excited to come to you guys like I do every single week. And first off, I just want to say thank you for all of the support, for all of the messages. I do just want to put it out there. If for some reason you could not find me on LinkedIn for the last couple of days, unfortunately, they took me off for some reason that I still have not been told, but we are back on. We're resilient. So just want you to always know that if you don't see me, just know some things in the background are going on for some reason, and we will always figure it out and put a smile on our face. But I just want you guys to know, thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the messages. I'm so glad that this podcast has been helpful. Literally just had somebody last week tag us on LinkedIn how from this podcast, they were able to use it as a resource, and it led them to getting a doctor meeting. And that's what this podcast is all about. It's about being able to help you all. It's about to be able It's all about helping you all change your own lives and change your career in medical device sales. Because like I always tell people, I wish I had this guidance when I was going through it. I wish I had somebody to be like a big brother, an uncle, whoever you want to put me as, to be able to help me go through this process and actually knew what they were talking about. Because the reason I say that is a lot of people would try to tell me what to do. And I'm like, well, Frank, you haven't even performed, right? Oh, Frank, you're not even in the top 30 reps, right? But yet everyone's going to tell you how to do. No different than everyone's going to tell you how to live your life when they're not even happy with the life they live. Don't make much sense? Welcome to the world. So, my friends, again, I hope you all just know that I'm just here to help you. I just want you to have success, and it's so much fun to watch you all succeed and just be able to help you guys grow in your career, grow as human beings, grow and mature into the people that you're supposed to be, which kind of leads me into today's episode is I was on a call today with a recruiter as we're having those conversations. People are starting to want our people, which is really fun on where this is all going. Lots of cool things happening here at New to Medical Device Sales, which I've mentioned multiple times, but it's going to be a fun next 6 months for everybody to see for us, and I'm really excited. As I was thinking about this, where I get all the messages, where I get people coming and reaching out, I get a lot of people that are in the industry that aren't really happy with their current place. And I wanted to speak on this. And just because I've been in this place, I've been in having experience in it, and I want to be able to help you all be able to progress into the career that you're supposed to be in, but also in the position and company that you're supposed to be in. Because what I've learned is a lot of times it's big on the culture fit. And so I wanted to talk about culture in medical device sales. Because what the overall culture fit back in the day used to be is sink or swim, figure it out. If you're not good, I'm better than you and you suck and deal with it, right? Compared to, that's why I make these podcasts and do what we do is like, you want people who lift you up. You want a company who invest in your training. You want a company that sees you, is excited to have you on their team. And I say that because it's no different than what we're building here at New to Medical Device Sales is we want people who are high performers that want to actually get better. Right? Because there's a lot of people who are like, I'm a high performer. I don't need to get better. I'm cool, like all this. And that's just never going to be a culture fit for me, right? Why I always say this is because, I went to Medtronic and I had a lot of success there and it was great. And I love the people there. And I want that to be clear is like the people I met at Medtronic were absolutely amazing human beings. But when I was at the 26, 27-year-old mark and I was like, hey, I just was a top 10 finisher. I want to continue to grow. I want to go somewhere else. I'd never forget when I end up going where I went at Innovis, which we'll talk about in a second, where there were so many people who tried to basically be crabs in the buckets. Oh, why would you leave the top company in the world? Why would you do this? And they wanted to pull you down. Even when I was at Medtronic, I would literally have people reach out to my manager and they'd be like, how's the kid with no sales experience doing? Because I got hired as a full line rep with a territory that was the underperforming, but I had no experience and everyone I beat out was literally reps in the industry already. So they wanted to see, can this kid that somebody took a shot on actually even perform? And it came from insecurities. And then I would find out, people would make backhanded comments about me. I didn't even know them, but they were inside the same company, right? And so what I want to just say this is when people feel threatened by you, they're going to talk. And you can't let it affect you. I always tell our team, I tell the people I work with, and even just I have to even tell myself this because we'll get people saying certain comments. Just understand, people never punch down. They only punch up. If somebody's talking trash, if somebody's saying bad things about you, if somebody's doing things to try to jeopardize your career or anything, it's because they're jealous, they're insecure, they see you as a threat. I've never met somebody who's like, I'm mature, I'm good with myself, I know what I bring to the table and I know what I have to offer, spending the time to just go and trash or start drama on somebody else. So I just want you guys to know, when you're in a culture in med device sales, that's something you should really look for as a company of people lifting each other up. Now, here's the thing. When you get to massive companies, that is just going to be the world. It's corporations. There's going to be some people that are great, some people who are not that great. It is the world. And what I would just tell you is don't think too much into it. I just talked to a girl last week when I was in San Diego where she's like, I'm 25. I got in at 23. I've crushed it. Now I'm getting backhanded comments. I'm getting told I'll never make more than $90,000 to $100,000. I'm getting told all this stuff. And I'm like, you could leave today and make double that right now with the success that you've had at 25 years old. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, we do it all the time. And so the reason I'm just saying that, guess what? The people who are making 110, 120, that it might be 15, 20 years in the industry or whatever it is, that have more experience are going to be like, you can't do that. No, why would you do? Because it always comes back to the ego. No, I'm better than you. And just let me say it all the time. People in this industry, in all sales industry, not just med device sales, if you're doing better than them, and especially if you're younger than them or have less experience than them, they will be then threatened and put you down normally. Very few times is it they're like, oh, you're amazing. I will say there are a lot of great reps that I've got to meet that they want to encourage you and help you, but a lot of times I'm meeting the opposite of like, no, you're not good. I didn't do it, so you can't do it. It goes back to my saying, eagles don't fly with pigeons. Don't let somebody else put you down because they couldn't do it. And that's literally why we exist. We keep showing people getting hired at 170, 175, people breaking in with no experience at 23 years old, coming in at over 120K starting out, because it's possible just to the people they talked to who said you'll never do it. It was never possible for them and they didn't think they could because they didn't believe in themselves. Now, when it comes into the culture, you need to really ask, is this team making you better? And that's the one thing I just want to give a shout out to Innovis Medical. When I was there, Elliot, Jordan, they have created a culture of high performers, amazing human beings that like, I absolutely loved being there. It was so much fun to just be with people that were absolute experts and professionals at what they did and to get to learn from others, but also get to drive the team forward together. And that's what I always want people to understand is when you're around the right team, you're around the right culture, they want you to get better. You want to get better because you want to continue to drive that culture. So a couple of things I always bring up here is, again, Innovis was amazing at that. I think Elliot and Jordan do a great job at Innovis of finding high performers that they can continue to work with and do a great job of managing those people because it is super tough to have that many people and be able to manage. And so I just want to give a shout out to Elliot and Jordan, like an absolute amazing business that they've created. And it's why they're successful as well, because they've created a culture of like, hey, we don't need to go get 50 people to be able to do what someone who maybe like 2, 5, 6 people could do because they're just hard workers and high performers. Let's get focused on that. And I think that's something that goes a long way because if you look at other companies, like one that comes to mind all the time is like Intuitive. If you guys don't know anything about Intuitive, Intuitive is a very strict company and they have very hard guidelines. And it's actually why they're so successful because one of our people, we literally just got hired there. They're going into a 3-week training, but I think he actually even said it's like multiple months of training that they continue to do continued ed, even once they do the initial training. And then the whole conversation is they're going to get tested and you have to have at least a 95%, otherwise you get let go, right? And it could be 90%. I know it's changed in the past, but when I talked to him, it said, no, it was still 95, but I've heard other people say 90%. But just again, to give you an idea, you have to have a very high score, otherwise you'll just be let go. And the reason I'm saying that is because that's just the standard they set. They're not wanting mediocrity. They don't want people who are mediocre. They don't want to deal with people who don't want to be the best and that don't want to drive a certain culture. And that's why they're so successful. It's why they're the number one robotic company in the world in the med tech space is because, again, they have a culture that shows that. And so the reason I'm just saying that is if you guys get to a point where you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you're getting held back, you feel like you're actually getting pushed down, I would just sit here and tell you to really do a hard check in the mirror because that's something that happened for me was when I was going through the process and then I had to start checking things off. I was like, am I getting better here? Do I feel supported here? Do I feel like I'm growing here? Do I have the opportunity for growth here? Do I feel like I could be as successful as I could be in my career here? And for me, at the time and the state of life I was in, that is why I jumped. I could not say yes to all of those. And so for me, I was like, I'm going to make the jump. And then guess what? I made the jump, didn't get supported by a lot of people, which is okay. But then guess what? Ended up doing a massive deal, right? With the company, that's great. Like there's so many cool things that came from it. So the reason I'm just saying that is the people that I left didn't understand it, but then like it all played itself out because I believed in myself and I went to a team who believed in me. And so I just want you guys to know that is like, get around others that support you, get around others that believe in you, get around a company that wants to train you, a company that wants to make you better, a company that's going to continue to believe in you for your continued growth. Because here's the craziest thing. If you get with a company who actually understands if you grow, they grow. If a company understands that you get better, they get better. Because a lot of these big companies think that they can just be like, we're going to give the bare minimum. They can just plateau through life. And then it's going to be big enough and it will be okay. To some people, that's okay. For really driven people, that's not what they're looking for. Again, I just talked to another guy. They've done studies and it's not even so much compensation. It's growth. It's where do they feel fulfilled, right? Because at a certain amount of money, they'll be like, okay, I do need to make this much money, but I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel like I'm growing. I don't feel like I'm getting better. I don't feel whatever that thing is. They will leave. And so I think that's one thing I just wanted to really mention to you all is wherever you're going, deciding to go and decide to keep your career at, make sure that it's hitting the check marks that you want. And the last thing to that is just understand, sometimes you might be in a holding period where you're like, hey, right now I don't feel like it is, but in the long term of my career, I do believe I need to stay here. That's okay. But what I'll sit here and tell you, when I was a top performer at Medtronic, I was running at over 130% to plan. And then I had all these reps who were like, stop it. You're going to screw yourself for next year on quota. Don't do this. It's going to hurt you. Like you're being so irresponsible. All these things. Guess what? For them, they kept thinking I have to be here at all time. For me, I always say I interview with people every year and I'm okay because I don't have to marry a company. Because if the company is where I want to be, it doesn't even matter if I make more money. I may make less money, but if I feel fulfilled and I feel like it's the right culture fit for me, I'm going to stay. So the reason I'm just saying that is even when I was crushing quota, everyone's telling me to slow down. You're going to get this overage this year, but next year you'll get a massive lift to your quota and then it's going to screw you and you're going to make no money. That never crossed my mind because I'm like, if that happens, I'll just see what the market is offering. And guess what? The market was offering something way better with a company that I really believed in that paid me more money. And then people will be like, well, you can't do that because you're jumping and all this stuff. And let me just make it clear. I just talked to literally a recruiter and another manager who has been in there for 13 years. And they all say the same thing. All of you guys all say that. And then that company you just talked about will cut you next week if something drops. Oh, they have to do hiring freezes. Oh, they have to do layoffs. Oh, there's literally companies right now, because we have coaches in the industry right now going through this, is, hey, we're seeing a decline. So because of that, none of you get paid your commissions. But yet you're a bad human being if you just keep your options open. And going back to this, it's not all about the money because you can be at a company that you might not make as much money about, but if you feel supported, you feel like you're getting better, you feel like it's a great culture fit, you'll be there. Why do I say that? Let's bring it back to dating. So when you're dating someone, you're with them for a reason. But again, if you're dating, I'm still keeping my options open because I have to make sure that this is who I want to be with. That doesn't mean you're going and sleeping with a bunch of people and doing all that. This is not a dating podcast, for good God. Who am I to give any advice? The reason I'm just sitting here telling you is if it's not marriage, it's not the rest of your life where you fully committed, it's like, hey, I'm going to continue to see what else is out there, but I'm going to stay with this person because I like A, B, C, D. Because at any moment, if that ever changes and you don't have that commitment, you can go somewhere else. You can find someone else who's more attractive, who makes more money, whatever it is. It's no different than the job market. Everyone's like, oh, I have to marry this company because of ABC and they treat me horribly. They yell at me. They scream at me. Well, if that's your relationship, again, I'm not any guru, but I'm like, if you feel bad, they hate you, you get treated like crap, I probably wouldn't be in that relationship, right? So the reason I'm just saying that is keeping your options open isn't a bad thing. If you had somebody who like you're married and every single day they're like, well, you better do this, otherwise I'll divorce you. You better do this, otherwise I might get rid of you. Guess what? You're probably going to leave at some point because you don't want to even deal with that. Because if that's the case, you're like, get me out of here. So the reason I'm just saying that, it's no different than the med device world. Like all these companies are like, you have to be this way, but then they'll cut you the first chance they get. And that's why I just laugh at this whole industry is like, everyone's like, oh, if I'm at a company, you have to put up with all this stuff and you have to deal with it because they said so. But guess what? There might be somebody else who's a better fit for you, who can pay you more money and who treats you better. Doesn't sound horrible. But again, we demonize that for some reason, right? Because again, if you don't commit and you're not there for 20 years, you're a horrible person. But that company lays you off 2 years in because they had budget cuts. We don't say anything. It's just, oh my gosh, this stinks, right? So again, it's just knowing your value and knowing your worth, but making sure you go to a culture you believe in and knowing that you always have options. Because that was my whole thing on that whole little rant is I never stayed at Medtronic and be like, oh, I'm not going to crush it because, oh my God, I'm going to screw myself. I'm going to be like, hey, if things happen to where they raise my quota, they try to underpay me, I know my value. I'm not afraid and I'm not married to something because they told me I had to be. I can go look at the market and I can see what else is out there. And guess what? I can go work less and make more money and have the opportunity to be around other people. And that's what happened. And again, not going any shade. I think it's a great company, but for me at the time, that's why I made the change. So just understand the culture you're around, the people you're around is going to make the big difference. Because if you're around, they literally even have done studies. If you sit around somebody who's less productive, you will be less productive. compared to if you sat around somebody who's more productive, you will be more productive just by sitting in that area. It's that easy to show that they've done studies on it. So the reason I'm just telling you guys this is who you're around, the culture you're around, the culture of your company that you're with is going to say a lot about you and your future and where you're going. And I would just say be very wise. And if you're at a place that's not an opportunity for growth, you don't feel supported, you don't feel like you're growing, you don't feel like you're making the money that you could, you don't feel all these other things, I would just sit here and tell you, don't get demonized when you start looking for a different place. That's okay. You can go look at other things and that's all right. Right? But hopefully, just like a relationship, you're at a company because you want to be there and they want you to be there. AKA, you want two wholes to come together and be in a relationship instead of everybody does like 50-50, you complete me. And then we have all these problems, right? Be two whole people. Go be responsible adults. We both want to be with each other because that's why we want to be with each other. It usually goes a little bit better because you both have the self-confidence. If the other leaves, you'll still be all right. I don't know if I just gave a bunch of dating advice to somebody who needed to hear it. Hopefully not, because I'm not a guru at that. But what I will say is be confident in who you are. Go to a culture that drives you to be better. And just know that I want you guys to win all the time. And the best thing is every time I make these kind of podcasts, the companies that aren't doing that are the ones who are like, I don't know if you should do that. Or the reps at those companies are like, oh, that's bad advice. But the companies who actually are agreeing with it, and they're like, yeah, we want people who want to be at our company. Not that feel like that we have them in handcuffs. They're the ones like, yeah, that makes sense. So just understand who you're around is going to make a big difference, not only in the culture of your company, but where you are in life. I hope this was helpful. Hopefully I made some sense today. And just know that you should know your value, you should know your worth. And if you don't feel like you're growing, you don't feel like it's giving you what you need, you don't feel the opportunity for advancement is there, or it gets you to your goals or where you're trying to get to in your career or life, don't be mad or don't feel sad about possibly exploring other opportunities, because guess what? You might find out by exploring other opportunities, you have it pretty dang good where you're at, or you might see there's other opportunities. Nothing wrong with it. So if you guys can, please press that like and subscribe button. If you guys would like more information on what we do or how we help people, you can check us out on our link down below. Also, if you guys don't have one, do make a LinkedIn, but just transparently, you might not find me. And if that keeps happening, maybe we'll go somewhere else. And I just want to say thank you so much for all of the love, all of the support. This wouldn't be possible without you. And I'm so glad these are helpful. If you guys have any questions or you want to know anything, please feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn at any socials. Jacob McLaughlin, new to medical device sales. DM us with podcast episodes you would like us to go over. You can ask questions on there as well. We're always happy to help answer any questions. I try to get back to you guys as timely as possible. So again, just know, always here for you, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.